Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Jeri Heen. We'll be discussing her fantastic book, The Roosters Next Door, available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. And guys, I will say that Jeri was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best movers in the business. Author Reputation Press Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, do yourself a favor and contact our great friends over there at ARP. And you can find out more information on them at authorreputationpress.com. And guys, listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Jeri here on the line. You know, the moment you go to her Amazon page, you go to her Barnes & Noble page, and you start to do any research on the book, you instantly understand what we're going to be discussing today. Now, right there in the title, there's no getting around it. We're going to be talking about those roosters next door, okay? And anybody that comes from a background where you either, A, were raised on a farm or you were raised near a farm, or if your neighbors just happen to have roosters, you understand that roosters can tend to be a bit annoying, right? The sounds that they make, they wake you up very, very early, and there's just so much going on, right? And I absolutely love that I have Jeri here on the line because me personally, I can relate to this stuff, right? Growing up in New England, there were farmlands all over, and every single morning, like clockwork, we would be woken up by the sounds of roosters. Now, eventually, when I got away from that, interestingly enough, I kind of missed it. Right? I mean, is that weird? I remember growing up and being so frustrated every morning being woken up by the sounds of those roosters. And then when I got away from it, it was almost the thing where, again, I kind of missed the sound of it. I couldn't sleep in the same way. I was still waking up at the same time. Just my body had just become adjusted to that. And I'm really excited to have Jeri here on the line because it's a children's narrative. It's going to be a fun-filled ride. We're going to really go for it today. It's an educational book specifically for children. So sit back, strap in, and let's get ready for a wonderful discussion. Jeri, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you so much for being a guest. How are you?
I am just great, Benji, and I would like to say that the roosters next door are quite distinguished. The cocks next door are distinguished.
There you go. I am really intrigued by this book. It seems like it's such a fun-filled ride. And from the pre-screening call and talking to you, you're so animated. You're so lively. And I'm loving this. I'm loving this. And before we go into the book, Jeri, let's hold off slightly. Start by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
Myself is early childhood since 1977. I've been working in preschools and other parent-child programs. And I have 9 grandchildren. So,
wow. 9 grandchildren. What a big family. Plenty of love to go around.
A big family. Plenty to go around.
There you
Plenty
have it.
love to go around.
There you have it. Well, first and foremost, congratulations on constructing and building such a wonderful family. It's such a beautiful thing, right? And again, truly mean that. Plenty of love to go around, and I'm sure you are smothered by it, which is wonderful. And then also,
I am smothered by it.
And then also, thank you very much for all of the work that you had done being, I think you said preschool teacher, but working in education. I had a very brief stint, and my listening audience knows this. I've articulated it on a number of prior occasions. I had a very brief stint in education myself, and my significant other is a high school teacher and has been teaching for about 15 years now. And the value of education, A, is of utmost importance in our household, but then also teachers never get the amount of credit that they deserve for how much work they put forth. So let me be the first person to tell you here on our network, thank you very much for all of the work that you did shaping and molding minds of future generations. It is truly appreciated. Jeri, without further ado, The Roosters Next Door. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
So, of course, we have lots of roosters in our neighborhood. And, of course, you know, you hear them, and they sing in duets and quartets all the time. But what happened is one day the neighbors, which are right next door, we have a single-wall dwellings. Right next door, the father-in-law brought 12 roosters to his in-laws' house. And he was getting ready for the big cockfight on the island. So he was raising his roosters, and these things would go off all night long, right through the single-well dwelling of my house. I would lay there, I would toss, I would turn, I would try all the things. And finally, I decided to do something positive. So instead of trying to fight the noise at 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, I would start making these rhymes early in the morning before the crack of dawn. Roosters in my neighborhood start singing their songs. Starting at 5 or 2 or 4, cocks are crowing right next door. I toss, I turn, I cover my head, wishing those fowls would go back to bed. And every single night, I would go back to bed, and as soon as I would get woken up, I would start repeating this little rhyme that I was making. And then every night, I would add on to it. Then the next thing I know, I'm researching about roosters, and I'm finding out things like they have a dominant male. The dominant male is the one that starts the crowing, you know, and I found out things like that, you know, and I started comparing them to music, like, oh, they really have a falsetto forte, and, you know, and they bird's eye, they get louder and louder, and, you know, they're not just, they're not just that, they're have this crescendo going, and it gets louder, and then, I don't know, I had so much fun with it. I just kept adding on, and then I would go up in the morning, and I would look at them before the sun even came up. I would take my phone, and I would start taking pictures of them, and I'm like, oh, wow, they have this little dance they do. They start ruffling their feathers, and then they shake, and then out comes the crow. So it's like they did this so that when I found my illustrator, I could actually show her the pictures of them, how they crow, you know, what they do with their feathers, how they ruffle them. And it was kind of fantastic. You know, I learned a lot, you know, and I tried to compare it to music and, you know, how they join together in this duet and then down the neighborhoods, and then they add on to the quartet, and, you know, you can't ignore it. You're just so disgusted. You're trying to snore, and you can't help but hear the racket next door. So I had a lot of fun with it. And then one day I slept in. I was so amazed. I woke up to a blue sky. I woke up to tiny birds chirping in the trees nearby. And I realized, oh my gosh, I had a peaceful night. I had a dreamy night with no noise. And then I did a double take, and I looked at my clock. Oh, I'm late. I gotta go. Where is my alarm clock? And then I was like, what? Where's my alarm clock? So I wrote, gosh darn doodle doo. Where'd my alarm clock go to? So, you know, I just kept adding to this, and then I decided, okay, we're going to definitely need a glossary for this, you know, and because I use words like animato, accelerato, bird's eye, breaking the dawn, the highest ranked rooster breaks the dawn, the dominant male, and forte and falsetto, and then I describe the roosters that up there, my torso is all proud, and, you know, their chest is out, and I don't know, I imagine that this dominant male was kind of like the maestro, you know, leading the gang. So I had a lot of fun with this, and I'm thinking, okay, I need a glossary because I am aiming for a younger age group. Something they can grow with, this book that they can grow with.
Absolutely.
So, and then I ended it just like you said. I guess you really never know how much you appreciate a rooster's crow. Once you get used to it, that's it.
Interesting.
But this was disturbing, though. Right out the window, you know, you'd have like 5 roosters on these little houses, you know. And it was something. It was. I'm glad I got positive on it.
There you go.
Well,
Well, Jeri, I'm curious. Next question I want to go into is inspiration. So, based upon your spiel there, I know why it was interesting for you to look into and gather more information on roosters, and this was really something you couldn't avoid. So you made the best out of it. Now, I'm curious why. Why didn't it end there? You took it a step further, published the book for the public to partake in as well. Why was it important for you to do that, and what are you hoping that your readers gain from your book?
I just thought it would be such a cool book. It's so educational, and it's not that I was thinking I was going to write a book, but my mom happened to die, and I had this money.
Oh, sorry about
and I thought, hey, this is all you need to publish a book. And then I had good friends, you know, that helped me edit it. And so it was really just the perfect time to do it, you know?
Absolutely.
And, yeah, it kind of flowed, you know, into hearing the roosters, being positive, writing a book, researching it, going out, watching them, finding my illustrator, and then actually having the money to publish it. So thank you, God. It kind of flowed in the right direction.
There you have it. Again, here in the line with Jeri Lou Heen. We're discussing her book, The Roosters Next Door, available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. Jeri, next question that I want to go into, and I know we covered this a little bit in the pre-screening call, so I'm really interested to hear the answer to it. But talk to our listening audience about the research that you did in preparation for the book.
Okay. I started going on Google, and I started looking up roosters, and that's when I found that there's a dominant male that jumps up on his perch, and he starts off the crowing. And then I started, as I was listening to them and realizing, gosh, this song goes on and on. The first verse goes on and on. Then I started to research musical terms because I thought, wow, this verse goes on and on. And how their voice registers above the normal voice. It's falsetto crow, I guess. And then I looked up the word forte, which is very strong and sung loudly. And I thought, okay, that describes that rooster. I began to look at him like a maestro and leading all the others. And majestically, in his stately fashion, my torso, I had to look that up, my torso, I hope I'm saying it right, but his majestic way that he struts up there. And then I also researched about how they actually, what they do before they crow. And at the same time, I'm going outside in the morning and I'm taking pictures and I'm watching. And I found, wow, they really do that dance. You know, they get this little light that comes through, this ray of light, and then they ruffle, and then they shake 3 times, 3 shakes, and then they crow. So I totally watched that, and it was kind of fun, you know, and they cock-a-doodle-doo, and they're really saying, it's time to get up. And then, of course, you don't think it's going to get any worse. You don't think that this crowing can get any worse. And then the animato maestro repeats the same verse. And you just lay there disgusted, trying to snore, pretending you can't hear the racket next door. So it was a combine of listening, repeating over and over and over the rhyme, researching, and also researching musical terms that I could match it with. And I love music. I combine music a lot with preschool, piano, ukulele, and singing. And I also like dance. So rhythm is kind of my thing. So I guess it was fun. And then also I would really listen to the neighboring roosters to hear, the chorus outside. And I like a chorus, and had a lot of fun with it. And I called it the verse, the repeated verse over and over. Can't get worse.
Jeri, what would you say was a highlight for you in writing the book? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you that you weren't expecting prior to embarking upon the journey?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that I would get so into it. I wasn't expecting that it would take all my thoughts, and I would, I'd think of something, I'd look it up. I think that was a surprise to me, that I was looking things up and researching and learning so much, and it snowballed. I think I was surprised by the snowball effect that it had, and definitely started looking at them differently. And, the hilarious thing was, though, I was telling you that I had woken up. There was no noise. Well, later, I found out they lost 10 of their roosters. 10 roosters in a cockfight.
Oh, my goodness.
That's why I had slept through the night. 2 roosters didn't bother me at all. That was normal. But I thought that was funny, and also a good way to end my book. Of course, I don't write about that, but
right.
I do say, wow, what happened? I slept through the night. This is a great way to sleep. But of course, you wake up and you don't have your alarm clock, and then you're mad at them again. So it's an appreciation.
Taking a step away from the book as we close out, being an artist myself, I love having this platform to be able to pay it forward to other artists out there listening in. Now, of course, I'm in a different medium. I'm an actor and a filmmaker based here in Los Angeles, but I love having the platform, again, to really be able to offer words of wisdom to other people out there listening in. And in this instance, other writers out there. Now, you are someone that has gone through the process of creating your own narrative and writing your book, and then also going through the gauntlet of getting the book published. Because anybody that has been through the process understands writing the narrative is only half the battle. So we'd love to take this opportunity to steal any words of wisdom that you may be able to relay. Jeri, for any new writers out there listening in, what words of advice would you be able to give them?
When you have your publisher, definitely take it serious and do exactly what you want. The pictures that you want in there, the lines you want changed. I always felt kind of bad, like, I don't want to bother them. They're working so hard. I don't want to bother them. But now that I have my book, I realize all the things I wish I did different. So really take it serious when those publishers start calling you and helping you to get the book right the way you want it. Don't be afraid to say exactly what you want. I want to add this picture, and just be really clear on that part. So it's forever,
Absolutely.
Once you get that book, it's forever.
There you have it. Wonderful words of advice. Guys, you know what I love so much about this is we've discussed so much information. We've discussed so much information, Jeri, but yet we've barely scratched the surface.
You can make a movie about it.
We could make a movie about it. Absolutely. Listen, there's still so much to be offered. And like I said, what a wonderful journey for you to embark upon with your children, but a great gift for you to get for someone else's. Okay? Fun-filled ride and also educational. So do yourself a favor. Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com are the places you have to go. The Roosters Next Door is the title you have to pick up. And Jeri Heen is the author you have to thank for bringing it to your table. You surely will not be disappointed. Jeri, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you once again for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
Thank you, Benji Cole. Nice to meet you.